What's up, disc golfers? This is Matt Dollar, and I'm back with the conclusion of the PDGA portion of the Thumber Throwdown, presented by Latitude 64. We are on the back nine of round two, and overall scores look like that. Me and Jay Bird tied at 17 under, Matlack at 16, hot on our heels, and Brian Huff and Debo at 13 and 11. So we kick it off on hole number 10 here, 400 feet downhill. And it is a beautiful hole with the trees changing colors. Not sure if Jaybird went with a mid-range or fairway driver there, but it did come out at the end, and we'll give him a nice little putt for birdie.
What are you doing?
Matlack goes T-Bird, catches too much hyzer and a skip, but he's got a chance at the longest putt, which is basically the cash CTP on this hole is the longest putt instead of the closest to the pin. I went with the first run Mace and threw a really good shot both rounds on this one. Just didn't quite get the height I was looking for, but ended up getting pretty close both rounds. Huff also goes with a backhand. Hyzer's out just a bit too much. He'll be over there by Matlack. And now we got Debo about to crank on a thumber with a moonshine spark. Let's slow it down and check out this torque that Debo has. Nice smash from Debo. A little more height, and he probably would have gotten all the way to the basket. But that's going to put him right about circle's edge, I bet. Maybe a little shorter. Good bid from Huff. He was trying to get that longest putt prize. Now Matlack's got a chance to take it. Cash putt from Matlack. Let's catch the replay on that in slow motion. Beautiful putt from Matlack. And that's clutch when you're battling right here for the lead in a tournament with less than 9 holes to play. You got to hit the clutch putts when it comes up. Daniel misses a bit outside. And now Jason to retain his share of the lead. Good putt from Jaybird. A little low, but it bounces in there. I go with the judge and barely tuck it in the left side.
Corner pocket is sticking. That's those baskets.
Corner pocket, as Jaybird called there. So as we move on to hole 11, we wait for the group on 12 to tee off, and our cameraman Will decided to grab a little footage of the second card teeing off on hole number 12. That was Joseph Gunn teeing off first, and now here's Scott Renz, pure in that hyzer route. And now we've got Forrest Calloway smashing a thumber.
Okay. Oh, about. Wow. There's a little outlaw.
So back to the lead card action. Here we are teeing off on hole number 11, and Jason Light is up first. Hole 11 plays about 285 feet, but it is uphill and heavily guarded. Hard to get there with a righty backhand. So these guys were trying rollers. I went with a sidearm the first round, but I'm just going to throw a thumber this time, just to try and give myself a putt. Matlack is throwing that turn for a roller. It's hard not to get a funny hop because when you're standing on the tee pad, the hill in front of you kind of slopes right to left. So throwing a backhand roller is pretty tough to get it over. I'm going to take the moonshine spark straight up the middle. Gets me up there for a pretty close putt. I should probably be doing that every time I play this hole. Instead, I usually try to throw a forehand or something crazy. But now that the hole has been cleaned out a little bit in the massive work day they did before this event, I believe now it's just a thumber hole for me. Debo agrees. Oh, catches a late tree entering the green. He wasn't going for the layup shot like I was. He was actually challenging that gap at the end of the flight to try and get a park job. And he paid for that one with a nasty rollaway. So he's over here by hole 12's tee pad. There was a nice little love shot with his Nova. Speaking of Nova, here's Matlack putting with his.
Oh!
Matlack making back-to-back big putts here. Matlack made that pretty good putt on hole number 8 also. It was kind of like around the tree. Wasn't that long, but it was a tough angle. And then made a decent putt on 9 for his birdie. And then big putts on 10 and 11. Matlack's got something going here. So far, he's only missed 2 holes this round, and he just knocked out 2 of the hardest holes right here to start this back 9. I finished my birdie off with a judge after throwing that thumber to about 22 feet. And as you could hear me there, commenting on wondering why I don't throw thumbers on this hole more often. Hole number 12. Jaybird going up the right side.
A little better than earlier. Yeah.
And pures it with a mid-range. Beautiful shot from Jaybird. Matlack is also going to that right side, and I believe he's throwing a V-Rock.
Good buddy.
Beautiful shot from Matlack. Both these guys just pured that super tight backhand route. Speaking of super tight routes, I'm trying to go up the middle with the thumber.
Oh.
Wow.
So I caught the base of that tree, and it kind of went forward on its back and slid into the tiniest little bit of out of bounds creek bed. So
Went in. Chained up
that's
in the old one.
a pretty big bummer. Tied for the lead at the moment. Both those guys park it, and then I catch that slide to the out of bounds. Debo's going to go with a thumber here too. Kind of squirrels through that right side a little bit. He gets over the creek bed. In fact, this is the only shot, or mine was, that I saw go me on that creek bed during this round. Oh, little display of hot-headedness there from myself. I was just trying to quick snatch the mini up and send it flying. Might have called a courtesy warning for that one, and it was probably due. There's Debo with a long putt. Not able to get his birdie, but Matlack's got one for his birdie.
Putt, buddy.
And Matlack continues the display of phenomenal putting.
3 in open, or top 3.
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jaybird looking to see if he's got this CTP or not.
I tried.
It's a very, very close battle with Daniel's brother, JoJo. In the end, it came down to just a couple inches, but Jason did grab that CTP.
Ooh, I don't know. Now I'm kind of like, I don't know.
So we'll move on to hole number 13. If you remember, the creek bed plays OB down the right side of this hole. Jaybird throws one right down the middle. That is a beauty. Great shot from Jason. Matlack looks like he's going with a destroyer this time.
Be around it.
And it is overstable. He throws it out to the right, and it hooks. Big skip, too. That's going to put Matlack inside the circle. Huff tries to follow Matlack's line, but he's just a bit too wide, and it kicks back to the fairway. Debo is throwing an epic, an Arobi epic. So he's going to throw the thumber, and it's going to flip all the way around and then fly like a backhand.
Who's that?
Right side of your screen. You might could have caught it on the right side of your screen there. So it flipped all the way over and flew dead straight. I was telling it to hyzer. If it had hyzered at the end at all, it would have come back and parked it. Instead,
She
he went
was
across
full.
the creek, and he has to play from where it went out originally. So I went with a defender there, a lucid defender, and it did pretty good. Very overstable because it's a brand new one. And I kind of just flexed it up there and gave myself a putt inside the circle. So Daniel's not able to save his par. He'll have to settle for a bogey.
Yeah, good putt.
And Huff has a shot here at birdie. Not a birdie, that is his par, actually. That's a very good up and down from Brian. And here is Jaybird, who is putting for birdie from about 25 feet.
I was afraid of hitting in the center chains again. After last time.
Not my best effort on that one. So 2 good drives on hole 13 for me today, and no birdies. It's kind of a bummer. Matlack with a beautiful park job. So after I go bogey par on those 2, and Jaybird goes birdie birdie, we go from being tied to Jaybird leading me by 3. Matlack also went birdie birdie on those 2. So Matlack is only 1 behind Jaybird, and I am 2 behind Matlack. We're here on hole number 14, and Jaybird and Matlack both hit a tree and failed to make it out of the gap. So they're falling 3 behind quickly. I have a chance to make 1 up here. We'll see if I can do it. Huff takes the hyzer route. He's a little more successful, although he did finish too far to the left. I'm going to take my first run mace and throw it up the right side and let it hyzer flip. And it slides up there for what should be an easy birdie. Debo goes thumber, and he'll give himself a putt for birdie. Jaybird able to get out of a sticky situation over there in the shoal on the early right side of the fairway, and he will get out of there with a par. So he'll only lose 1 stroke at worst. Matlack's got a really long putt to try and tie it up, and he's not able to get it in there. He hyzers just over the basket, and he'll settle for a par also. Huff has a long look at birdie here. Got a straddle putt around this tree, tries to jump. That's about the 3rd or 4th jump putt that Huff has thrown this round, and they have all been dead on line, just a little bit low. So Jaybird makes good on his save, and so does Matlack.
Couldn't tell if that was B pin or C pin.
Devo and I are the only ones who have a chance for the birdie on hole number 14. Debo doesn't get his in there, but I do get mine. So I get the only birdie, and I take the tee box moving into hole number 15. 270 feet over water the whole way. Well, only the whole way if you decide to play it over water that way. You can definitely play it a lot safer and throw it something down the left that kind of just turns over. But most of the players decide to play a big hyzer over the water. I went with a compass on this hole, and it sailed just a little too far left. Actually, they thought I gave this basket a pretty good ace run both rounds, but all that really did was give me long putts coming back.
Shot Matlack.
Huff plays it a little safe from the water, and he'll give himself a longer putt. Debo's going to go with a backhand Thunderbird this time. I was a little surprised that Daniel didn't just go with the thumber here, but he throws a pretty good backhand, so that'll give him a putt for birdie. Everyone's on the green. Huff is looking the furthest out, and he is probably just at circle's edge. Good putt, though, from Brian. Here goes Matlack. He's got himself a little 25-footer. Super slow-mo. Look at that Nova catch. Ooh, by the skin of his teeth. What do you think, Matlack?
Chilling by you. What's up?
No, I pushed off on the pine straw.
No pictures on the scorecard.
Yeah. What?
Like good looking, top shelf.
Speaking of no pictures on the scorecard, that was quite a high putt from myself. Jaybird asked if I like that top shelf liquor. But we get our birdies, and if Daniel puts his in right here, we will have a star frame on hole number 15.
Sounded weird.
So we'll move on to hole number 16. Nothing changes on the scoreboard after 15. 16's got OB down the left side and directly behind the basket. I try to throw a Cenis just at that tree in the middle right and kind of flex right around it. I turned the Cenis over just a bit that time, and it carried. So I've got myself a little bit of a comeback putt, probably about 40 feet, 45 feet away from the basket. Jaybird plays it safe. He hyzers out early. He doesn't really challenge the basket, but he puts himself inside the circle, putting for birdie. So it's a good play when you do that. Matlack throws a pretty good shot. Goes just to the right side of that tree, blocking the green.
Slide it. Slide.
Huff throws a good one right at the basket, just a little short. And we got Debo going with a thumber. Thumber throwdown. Beautiful shot from Debo with a nice skip up towards the basket. I go with a jump putt and hit it a little bit high. It was an uphill putt, so I tried to make sure I put it high enough. But I put it too high. Unlike Matlack, who just keeps putting it right in the center of the chains. Another very good putt from Matlack, right about circle's edge. Huff gets his birdie too. And now Jaybird, after getting chased around by a wasp for about 45 seconds, he has settled back in at his disc. And he knocks it in for his birdie. Daniel also makes his birdie. And I am the lone par on hole number 16. So we move to hole 17. Jaybird throws it right up the middle. And that's going to get him a pretty easy birdie. So Matlack steps up with his AVR. If Matlack can birdie these last two holes, he'll shoot a 39. Don't! It's almost like a Nyston. So Matlack's going to have about 80 feet to the pin, I'm guessing, on hole 17 here. Huff goes with a thumber. Catches a little bit of roll. He'll be on the outside of the green, maybe about 40 feet. Debo's going to go thumber. And he skips it over to the green. He'll have about 20 feet for birdie. I'm going to go down the middle with my Cenis. Looking for an ace at this point. Lands just short of the basket and skips a little deep. That will also give me about 20 feet for birdie. So Matlack needs to drop this if he wants to shoot in the 30s. Or he can ace hole 18, which plays about 440 feet, 450 feet. So I'm thinking he needs to make this. Not a bad bid from Matlack. All in all, a great round by John. So now we've got Huff looking at about a 40-footer. And for the fourth time this round, he is dead on line with his jump putt, but just a little low. I putt this one with my classic soft judge. And Daniel is the last one to putt, and he's putting right at the people swinging. Hopefully he can time it right and have them right in the back of the chains. Good putt from Daniel, good concentration, especially with the distraction back there. Now if Jaybird makes this, he has all but sealed the victory. And he does. So a par on hole 18, and Jaybird will walk away as the winner of today's tournament. So we move on to 18 that tees off the peninsula, and if you see that basket right there, that basket will be in play on 2 different holes in our Safari Skins lake layout that is played by the top 3 finishers in Pro Open and the top finisher in all amateur divisions. So stay tuned for that video because there's going to be some scary shots thrown over water and fun competition. Jaybird pounds a D something or another, and he's all the way up there and putting for birdie. Great drive by Jaybird. Devo takes the epic out again, gets the full flip, straightens out, and man, that thing went in a dead line between the tee pad and the basket, which is pretty incredible. This hole's 400 feet, but plays about like 450, so Devo got himself at least circle's edge right there. That I threw, and I threw it with too much anhyzer, but it actually hyzered out at the end. It actually went past the pin on the right side, so I've got about a 40-foot comebacker for my birdie. And Matlack steps up, and he's going to throw that destroyer again, the crazy overstable one. And it hooks and takes a big skip left. He'll have a long look at birdie, probably about 50 feet. And Huff will throw one. He is last at tee here. Lands just short of the OB road and skips and slides right over it. So everyone is safe and everyone has crossed the road here on hole 18. Huff gives it a jump putt. Wouldn't you know it, it is on line but not quite in. Matlack just will not stop. He made so many good putts today. It was very impressive to watch. Somebody should sponsor John Matlack because that guy is really good at disc golf. If he quit playing so many little C tiers like this one, his rating would be a lot higher. So, solid day of golf from Matlack. Not able to top Jaybird, but when Jason's in form, I mean, who can? So, Matlack finishes with a 40 that round at 14 under. And if Jaybird makes his last putt, he will also shoot a 40. There was my bid for a 2. I missed it, so I will shoot a 44 this round, 1 stroke worse than last round. And that'll put me at 21 under for the day. So here's Jaybird for the win. He could lay it up if he wanted, but I'm guessing he wants those rating points. And that 40 that he shot, that he and Matlack both shot, ends up being rated out about 1050. So nice job from those guys. It was great golf all day. Thank you guys for watching. Will Peterson did an excellent job behind the camera. And thanks to everyone who helped run this tournament. And thanks to Latitude 64 for their support. Make sure you check out that Safari Skins final video coming soon.